Hi, very good morning once again. I am here to explain the Unit 4 called Directing. See, in the previous class, we have learned about how organizing function is working out in the organizational scenario and what are the characteristics of organizing. And we have seen different organizational structures like formal and informal organizations, and even we have also focused on, we was also learned about three different organizational designs like line organization, line and staff organization, and even the functional organization also. So in that we have identified some of the advantages and the disadvantages on each and every organizational design. So in the functions of management, yes, as I already mentioned you in the unit 1, that is we have almost 6 different functions where every manager has to perform to achieve the organizational goals and objectives. So the 6 functions are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling and coordinating. So in the previous class we have seen about the second function, and now in this unit 4 we are going to focus on how directing function can be implemented in the organizational scenario. In fact, directing is one of the most common important functions where it helps to extract the work from the workforce. So that is why directing plays a vital role in the achievement of organizational goals and objectives. Let us try to learn more about directing. So in this particular video, I am going to focus on the introduction about the directing, how important the directing would be, and what is meant by motivation, and what are the different theories suggested by different psychological and managerial experts. So we are going to learn those as theories of motivation and how important the leadership is and what are the different styles of leaderships available. And even to get the work done from the employees, we need to have a great communication with them. So communication is also playing a vital role in achieving the organizational objectives and goals. So that is the reason why we are going to learn about what is meant by communication and how the process of communication happens in the organizational scenario, and what are the barriers of effective communication we have, particularly especially at the organizational context. So first let me concentrate first on the introduction about the directing. See, as I already mentioned you, directing is one of the functions, one of the heart of all the managerial functions. So all the functions of management such as planning, organizing and staffing have no importance without directing. As I already mentioned you in the first unit itself, planning, organizing, staffing has to be done if we have effective directing procedure. So that is the reason why in the directing procedure we are going to focus on 3 important areas, because every manager, when he wants to direct his workforce, when he wants to when he wants to drive their workforce towards the designed goals and objectives, one manager, one has to concentrate, or one has to play an important roles like he has to play he has to act like a he has to show his leadership, and he has to show his motivational concept, and he has to supervise. One manager has to supervise each and every activity, how it is going on, and as a manager he need to understand and he need to improvise the communicational patterns which helps to direct the people to the designed target. So that's the reason why directing is the heart of all the management functions. So now my question is, why directing is important? What is the importance of directing in the organization? What makes difference if we don't have directing function in the organizational context? What's going to happen? See, if we cannot direct the people in the right way, or if we cannot show our leadership, or if we cannot supervise them every time, or if we cannot communicate with them properly, or if we cannot motivate them in all the situations, we may not see that the employees are going to complete the given task within the given period of time. So that is the reason why directing has got its own importance. So let us find out what are the points that helps us to understand the importance of directing. See, directing is a function where it provides it is going to initiate some kind of action, and it is also provides us proper guidance and instructions to the employees, and it also ensures, the directing also ensures proper coordination, and it is a means of motivation. It gives clear duties and responsibilities to each and every employee so that they can perform and they can concentrate on their duties and responsibilities, and even it ensures and it maximizes the productivity very well. As I already mentioned you just before this particular slide, directing is the heart of every function, every management or every organization. So it is the heart of all the managerial functions. So as a heart of all the managerial functions, directing is going to ensure great productivity. Directing is going to provide us great efficiencies also, and moreover, if we can direct them, if we can direct the employees very well, if we can motivate them, if we can guide them, or if we can communicate with them very well, it is going to reduce the conflicts among the people, or among the employer and the employee, or among the management and the employee. So the only problem which helps to create a conflict in between the management and the employees is if we cannot direct them properly, then it leads to creating some conflict. So if we can direct them properly, if we can lead them properly, or if we can motivate them properly, it helps us to reduce the employee conflicts, and it is also helping to cope up accordingly. Directing helps, yes, the manager's directions helps always helps the employees to take some changes, or to have some directional changes, or to go for to cope up accordingly, to cope up according to the given situations. So that is the reason why directing is very important in the organizational context, and the same directing function will helps you to make use of the available resources like men, material, machinery, money, methods. You can make use of these 5 M's in a most productive way. So directing helps to maximize directing helps to utilize the available resources into a maximum extent, and moreover, it helps to achieve the desired or defined goals and objectives. And see, if you want to have an effective directional process in the organization, as I already mentioned you, a manager has to be a good motivator, has to be a good leader, or he has to be a good communicator also. So in this particular unit 4, firstly, if we want to implement the directing function properly, let us know how motivation is going to bring a change among the employees, or how managers have to motivate their workforce. Before entering into today's motivational topic, let me tell you firstly what is meant by motivation. As motivation is the encouraging function which helps all the persons to give their best performance, and it also helps in achieving or reaching enterprises goals. Okay, motivation is one of the driving function or driving factor to all the employees. So that is the reason why it is the key element in managing the personnel. So next, let us try to understand the definition of motivation. Motivation can be defined as the process that initiates, guides and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. Yes, of course, it is going to initiate some kind of action. It is going to guide all the employees to come out from all the employees from their problems, and it also helps us to maintain some goal-oriented behaviors. Okay, so and motivation is what causes us to act. It involves the biological factors, emotional factors, social factors, cognitive forces that activates behavior. So if a manager has to motivate his employee, if a manager tries to motivate his employee, and in the same way employee also has to get ready to motivate themselves. So then only that kind of behavior actually is required when the motivation is going on. If manager is trying to motivate the employee to extract more production or to extract more performance, so at that point of time, it's a two-way process actually. See, when manager is trying to motivate the employee also has to show the same kind of behavior, and he has to adopt the ongoing conditions on the motivational factor. So let us see why motivation is important in the organizational context. It leads to profitable operations, and even it helps us to increase the level of productivity. We can bring high level of productivity, as motivation is the driving force towards the achievement of organizational goals and objectives. A manager has to motivate them well. A manager has to see that the productivity has to be maximized, and it is the best remedy for resistance to change, and it is an effective use of human resources. Yes, motivation is the important element, important tool where a manager can make use of to guide their human resources. And moreover, motivation gives lot of satisfaction among the employees, and it also minimizes disputes and strikes in the organizational context, and it is also a basis for coordination. If we provide good if we provide great motivation to our employees, then it helps us to improvise their morale. It helps us to bring down all the disputes what is there in between two different people, and it helps us to bring great coordination. And it also helps us to maintain a stability of workforce, minimizes supervision cost, and it is also going to achieve the organizational goals smoothly and successfully. So that is the reason why motivation is important. So under motivation, different managerial thinkers or different psychological experts has presented three major theories on this particular motivation. So let me tell you the first one, that is Maslow's need hierarchy theory. This was explained by Abraham Maslow, and he has stressed more on how an individual employee can motivate himself, or how an individual can bring change in their level of needs. See, it is completely a need based theory. This theory is going to stress more on how individual behavior is going to change when one requirement has been fulfilled, or when one need has been achieved by an individual. See, Abraham Maslow has mentioned 5 different level of needs. First one, that is, don't see from top to bottom, observe from bottom to top. Then it helps us to understand the level of needs which every individual wants to satisfy themselves. So firstly, we have to see, as an individual we will see that, or we want to have physiological needs. Physiological needs in the sense we have breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, right? All these things are required. All these are the basic amenities which helps the individual lead his regular day-to-day life. So if these physiological needs have been satisfied, then the same individual will look for second level of needs, that is safety. After attaining the physiological needs, one individual wants to have some security about their life. They want to have a great employment facility, they want to have a good amount of resources, and they want to have a family, health, property, like all these. An individual wants to satisfy all these needs after attaining physiological needs, that is what basic needs. And third one, that is social needs. An individual expects some love and affection. Individual wants to have some friendship. Individual wants to have some family members. An individual wants to intimacy, sexual intimacy also expecting by an individual. So if his physiological needs or if his safety needs has been achieved, and then in the third level of needs, individual wants to achieve his love, belongingness or social needs. And coming to the fourth level of needs, this is what the level where individual wants to be self-esteemed. He wants to have great confidence, and he wants to have achievement. Every time he wants to be a self-esteemed person. So as a self-esteemed person, one individual can expect about confidence, expect about achievement, expecting respect from others, right? And even the same individual expect respect of others. So this is what the fourth level of needs. And coming to the last one, that is self-actualization needs. Here the individual, see, after attaining all the required amount of needs, from physiological needs to the self-esteem needs, an individual wants to be a self-actualized person. An individual wants to be a self-actualized person. He wants to have morality. He wants to have morality, and moreover he wants to be more creative, he wants to be more innovative. So in that way he wants to lack of prejudice. See, he wants to have all these things when he is looking to satisfy himself in achieving those objectives, in achieving the greatest motivational factor. So in this Maslow's need hierarchy theory, individual wants to, Abraham Maslow has segregated all these 5 level of needs in a chronological order, starting with physiological, safety, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. These are the 5 level of needs where an individual wants to satisfy himself. And coming to the second theory, that is Herzberg two-factor theory. Professor Herzberg has explained about this two-factor theory. He has done a lot of experiment, he has done a lot of researches on how and why the employees are not feeling satisfied, employees are not having job satisfaction, what makes them jobs dissatisfied, and what are the factors that influences the individual to have job satisfaction. So on both areas he has done a lot of experiments and researches in identifying why the employees are not feeling satisfied, especially when they are at their jobs. So coming to the first one, Herzberg has segregated the total theory into 2 factors. One is hygiene factor, and the second one is motivating factors. Motivators and hygiene factors. These are the 2 factors. Basing on these 2 factors, he has developed this theory, named it as Herzberg two-factor theory. So under hygiene factors, here Herzberg is concentrating completely and more on why the employees are not feeling satisfied, especially when they are at working environment. What makes them not satisfied? Suppose, see, if an employee wants to work in the job environment, if an employee wants to feel comfortable, or if an employee wants to be more attached towards the organization, he expects something. He expects some lively atmosphere, good working conditions, and moreover good human relations, and moreover unity of commands and unity of directions. If in the same way, remunerations also has to be paid on a fair basis. These are some of the factors which every employee is expecting from the organization. Suppose if these factors are not there, if these factors are not going on well, Herzberg has classified these factors as hygiene factors. What makes them job dissatisfied is if there are no proper good working conditions that helps them individual to get job dissatisfied. If there is no proper relations between the management and the employee, or employee and employee, and that also made them job dissatisfied. And if the policies and rules and regulations, formalities, practices, procedures, if all these things are not quite satisfactory to the employee, at that point of time also employee feel dissatisfied. Employee may not adjust themselves on those congested, restricted rules and regulations, right? So that is why if policies and rules are not quite adjustable, or if the policies and rules are not understandable, or if the policies and rules are not allowing them to take freedom, particularly at the working environment, then the employees may feel dissatisfied. And again, supervisor quality. Suppose every employee expects some good rapport with their supervisors. Every supervisor has to guide their employees very well, has to communicate them well, has to provide every information whatever is needed to accomplish the given set designed targets and goals. So here, if supervising quality is not good, if the supervisor is not showing empathy, or if he is not showing, if he is not providing the required information to the employee, then again the employee feel dissatisfied. And finally, yes, base wage salary is also, yes, of course, every employee is working only to have a fair wage or fair returns. See, suppose if you take example, if I am working in my institution, yes, of course, I have industriousness towards my organization, but at the same time, that industriousness may not take me to lead my life. So to lead my life, or to feed my family, or to satisfy all my needs, I need to have some salary. So I expect, as an employee in my college, I expect some kind of basic salary or minimum salary which helps me to lead my life. If that salary or if that pay scale is not good, if that pay scale is not satisfactory, at that point of time an individual gets dissatisfied. So these are some of the hygiene factors. If employee don't have these kind of factors, then it leads to job dissatisfaction. And now when it comes to job satisfaction, what makes an employee to get satisfied? Herzberg has classified these job satisfactional factors are motivating factors, like achievement, recognition, responsibility, work itself, advancement, personal growth. If these are available, if there is a scope for achieving something, if the management is recognizing us every time, if the management is recognizing with a token of appreciation, then always employees may be willing to give their 100% best efforts. So that makes more job satisfied. And moreover, if the responsibilities are in a quite handling manner, at that point of time also it helps an employee to have job satisfaction, work itself, advancement and personal growth. If these factors allows If these factors are available in the organizational context, then it leads to job satisfaction. So this is about Harrisburg two-factor theory. And third one, that is third theory we have got, that is McGregor X theory and Y theory. Theory X and theory Y. Professor Douglas McGregor has explained his view on this motivation, and after conducting lot of experiments, after conducting lot of researches on the employee behaviors, employee morals, employee attitudes, employees mindsets, and employees intellectualities, he has identified that there are two different kinds of employees in the organization. One segment has been named as theory X and other segment has been named as theory Y. So under theory X, see, under the X theory, here always employees wants to escape from the work. They don't want to undertake any kind of responsibility. They are in rushing of escaping from the work. See here, people need close supervision, always employees requires close supervisions. If no supervision is not available, then employees may not going to complete the given task. So that's the reason why under theory X people need close supervision. And always people will avoid work when possible, and people will avoid responsibility also. They never don't want to undertake any kind of responsibility, and they only desire, they have only a concept of earning money. That's it. But they don't want to accept any kind of responsibility, and they don't want to take any kind of duty, especially in the working environment. And people must be pushed to perform. Yes, by forcefully we need to ask them to perform. By forcefully we need to direct them to perform. Otherwise they may not going to perform the given task. But under theory Y, this is quite opposite. Theory Y is quite opposite to the theory X. Under theory Y, people do the work like what they play. Normally, yes, in this theory Y, always people wants to take initiative, always people gets motivated by themselves, by their own, and always people wants to take responsibility, people wants to accept any kind of situation, and always in the theory Y people wants to have motivated by self-fulfillment, and people naturally want to work, and people will drive themselves with great perfection. So this is what theory X and theory Y, what Professor Douglas McGregor has described us in the context of motivation. So these are the very important theories which makes us very clear about the motivational concept. And next one, we have a concept called leadership. See, leadership is a general term where we can observe and we can hear it from many people or in many times. So leadership is nothing but influencing others. Leadership is nothing but influencing others. We have a very good quote given by Peter F. Drucker, that management is nothing but it is doing things right, but leadership is nothing but doing the things right, doing the right things. Leadership is doing the right things, but the management is doing the things right. There is a lot of difference in between these two statements, which was given by Peter F. Drucker, and he used the quote to demonstrate the differences between management and leadership. And now let me tell you what is meant by leadership. It's an art of influencing people to attain group objectives willingly. Yes, leadership is an action where it has been headed and it has been executed by a person called leader. So what a minister does in his state, a captain does on the playground, a manager to do in his organization. This is what leadership actually. And leaders in all walks of life should have the same kind of basic qualities. So we have 4 different leadership styles, that is That is, first one is authoritarian, second one is paternalistic leadership style, the third one is democratic leadership style, fourth one is laissez-faire fairy leadership style. Let us see one by one in brief. Authoritarian leadership style. Under authoritarian leadership style, leaders who keeps strict close control over their followers by keeping close regulations of policies and procedures given to their followers. And coming to the paternalistic, under this particular leadership style, yes, here the leader is going to act as a fatheristic figure by taking care of their subordinates. As a parent or as a father or as a well-wisher, here the manager is taking care about their followers. And for third one, democratic, leaders who share the decision abilities with the group members, which means under leadership style, under this democratic leadership style especially, managers are inviting all their employees to take part in the decision making process. Actually, it's a unique method of taking decisions. And we may, as a manager, if we can allow all the employees to take part in the decision making process, or at least not all the employees, or at least the employee representatives. If employee representatives are available when the decision making is going on, at that point of time, there is a great chance of explaining about the realistic problems what is there in the working environment. That helps them to take effective decisions. So this is what called as democratic leadership style. And even we have fourth one, that is laissez-faire leadership style. Under this leadership style, yes, leaders who give all the rights and powers and authority to make decisions to the workers. So this is about leadership styles. And last but not least, we have a concept called communication. So as I already mentioned you in the first or second slide itself, so if we want to have a effective directing process, or if you want to implement directing function effectively, we need to play an important roles like leadership, we need to play an important role like good motivator, and third one, we need to play an important role as a good communicator. Let us see what is meant by communication and how the communication flows in the organization. What are the barriers that makes deviations in the communicational process? Firstly, let me tell you what is meant by communication. See, it is a process of passing information and understanding the same from one person to another person, both in verbal and non-verbal means. See, in this diagram we can observe clearly we have a sender and some message is going on, and there are some interpretation which is being done by a receiver, and the receiver is going to give response to the sender. This is how actually the communicational process is going on. We have a great chance to explain about something with another. Something to another. So communication is again nothing but it's a process of exchanging information, thoughts, ideas, feelings, emotions from one person to another person for a meaningful purpose. So that is what called as communication, and this is how this diagram gives you a clear picture about how communication flows clearly in the organization. See, a message will start at sender. Message in the sense what you call, sender is going to start, or sender is going to create a message. Sender is going to create a message. He encodes the message in his own language, and he sends the same information as a message. And here if the information is passing, if the information is being received by a receiver, he is going to decode it properly according to his requirements, according to his understandability. And after decoding the information, after understanding the information, the receiver is going to give feedback again to the sender. So when the receiver is giving feedback to the sender, it may be done in the form of noise, or it may be done in the form of verbal and non-verbal. both in the form, both in the two forms we can easily give feedback to the sender. So sender, encoding, message, decoding, receiver, these are the five stages where communicational process can happen in the organizational context. And what makes us restricting to have an effective communication? What are the barriers to have effective communication? See, we have five effective communicational barriers. These five barriers which are obstructing, which are deviating, which are creating a disturbance when the communication is going on. See, we have first one, organizational barriers to communication. What are the barriers which comes from the organization? See, organizational policy, organizational rules and regulations, lengthy scalar chain. Suppose if there is a lengthy communicational pattern, or if any employee wants to take a permission from many people, or if an employee wants to have a signature from many people, at that point of time, yes, employee gets struck actually. So if there is a lengthy scalar chain, that is also an organizational barrier to communication. If there is only one-way communicational system, see, if I am not allowing my audience to respond on the ongoing topic, if I am not taking other person's opinions into consideration, that also leads to ineffective communication and even lack of confidence on the subordinates. Why I am not allowing my audience or my subordinates to communicate with me? Because I don't have confidence. I am not believing my employees. I am not having enough confidence on my employees. That is why I am not allowing them to discuss on the ongoing topic. So those are organizational barriers. And next one, second one, physical barriers. See, if the two persons are in far distance, suppose if there is a road here, if two persons are standing on both sides of the road, so at that point of time, if one person tries to communicate with the other person who is standing just second side of the road, then the communication may not be good, the communication may not be audible, and sometimes that communication may not understand properly. So that physical distance creates a physical barrier. And hierarchy structure. See, if there is an employee in my down level, that down level employee may not communicate with me properly. That down level employee may not share every information, as there is a hierarchical structure. So maybe down level employee may be feared about their job. Maybe down level employee may feel that insecure situation. So at that point of time, the down level candidates cannot communicate with the top level people. So hierarchical structure also becomes a greatest drawback. And office design and noise, these are the physical barriers. See, if there is a loud voice, or if there is any agitation is going on, or if there is any public gathering is going on, or if we are in a cricket stadium, at that point of time we may not able to communicate with others properly, because there is a huge noise is coming on from that particular cricket ground. So at that point of time the communication may not be clear, may not be understandable, may not help the sender to receive feedback from the receiver. So that is also one of the greatest physical barrier. And psychological barriers to communication, right? So distrust of communicators. Suppose if I am saying anything, if my audience are not showing trust on me, if my audience are not believing my communication, if they are not showing 100% trust on my information, at that point of time my communication may not be effective. And moreover, superiority complex. Superiority complex also, yes, dominated complex or superiority complex also may not allow the candidate, may not allow the individual to understand the communication properly. Individual perception, see, of course, as our personalities are not the same, we have different personalities. In the same way, we may have different perceptions on the same issue or in the same situation. So we may have different perceptions. Whatever the perception I have, I cannot say that the same perception can be there in my group of audience. So individual perception also may not helps us to understand the communication properly. And moreover, premature evaluation. This is what the greatest communicational barrier where every individual may have. See, if some information is going on, if something is sharing by someone, we say that, okay, if we say that, stop it, I know what you are trying to say. I can analyze or I can sense it what you are going to say it to me. So this is what called as premature evaluation. In Telugu we can say it as mundugane uhinchatam. We call it as. So premature evaluation is also one of the psychological barrier where it helps to have ineffective communication. And moreover, no attention. See, sometimes I may see some of my audience may not show 100% attention on the ongoing topic, on the ongoing class or on the ongoing lecture. So that is also can be treated as one of the psychological barriers to communication. And language related barriers or semantic barriers to communication. See, if we use harsh language, which may not helps us to understand clearly, and if we use vague language, sometimes we use some words, those words may not match to the ongoing situation. That is one of the greatest semantic barrier. So vague language, harsh language, and moreover misleading interpretation. Some people may add some some people may add some masala on the ongoing topic. So when that process is going on, that may misleads the audience to interpret themselves, interpret the data. Sometimes misleading language barrier or semantic barriers misleads the interpretations among the receivers also. And moreover, sometimes see, if I heard about any technical knowledge, technical language, if I heard anything about computers, I may not understand. That is what technical language. If I heard some information about electronics, I may not understand, as it is a technical language. If I may heard about any plant related names or plant related information, or if I heard about any botanical information, I may not understand, as it is a technical language. So that helps me to be more ineffective. I may not understand it properly. And moreover, use of jargons. So these are the 5 semantic barriers which helps me to more ineffective. And moreover, technological barriers to communication. What are the technological barriers? I think this is what the last slide we have in this particular video. So technological barriers to communication, mechanical barrier. Yes. Suppose if my vehicle got struck in the middle of the road, so at that point of time I may not have enough information about how to mechanize it, how to start it properly, and how to repair it properly. So if I don't have mechanical knowledge, or if I don't have mechanical information, if I don't understand mechanical information, that is what my mechanical barrier. And loss of transmission, information overloaded. See, sometimes hours to hours or days to days, some people keeps on telling something. Overloaded information will be given to a group of audience. At that point of time, those audience may not take the complete information into their minds. Whatever the topics which they like most, whatever the topics or whatever the content which they understand it well, those topics or those informations will be taken into consideration by their by those audience. So overloaded information should not be stored at any cost. So overloaded information also leads to one of the technological barrier, and insufficient time allowed. Suppose, see, in some organizations, some managers always wants to complete the work within a short period of time. They won't allow their employees to take more time to think, to take decision, or to have a clarity. No, most of the times employees are rushed to complete the given task at any cost. So insufficient time also one of the technological barriers to effective communication. So after understanding about the leadership, motivation, communication, and even the importance of directing, after seeing all these 4 areas, here we have some key takeaways from this unit. So after learning all these 4 topics, or after learning the complete directing unit, we may take how to initiate one action, and we may go for integrate employee efforts. We may go for means of motivation, how to motivate them well, and we may facilitate different changes also. We may provide balance and stability, and we can assist stability and growth. So with this, I conclude my Unit 4. In the next video, I'll come with the last unit, that is controlling. So until then, thank you.